with Tyson Bryden.
Welcome to Nonstop Rock Talk. I am your host, Tyson Bryden. On today's show, I am very happy to welcome singer, guitarist, Jonathon Tyler. Jonathan, welcome. How's it going?
Hey, man, what's happening? It's going well.
Excellent.
Going well. Down here in Austin, Texas.
Nice. Is it probably nice and warm there?
It hasn't gotten to the crazy heat yet. It's still pretty nice. But the mosquitoes are just now starting to kind of come out, and the trees are starting to drop all their pollen. So it's getting there.
Yeah, we're kind of in transition period now. I mean, with April, it's been the last couple of days we've actually had in the teens Celsius wise. So
okay. So
that's it differentiates, but from year to year, sometimes it can be like in the teens, and then other years you're like, is winter ever going to be over? So I mean, I understand you've been up to Toronto. What time of year were you here?
I've been up there a couple different times. When I went up the first time, I was playing with Butch Walker. I was opening the show for him at the Mod Club, and it was actually summer or sort of like late summer, I believe, and so it was still nice weather.
Yeah,
it was just before things would get cold up there. And then another time, I came up there, played in like the middle of winter, and it was cold, but I think it was even colder in Montreal. Like that, I think Montreal was the coldest I've ever been before.
Yeah, Montreal's a little bit more north than Toronto. It kind of like rides up, right?
Yeah, and man, it was like I feel like you could see frost in the air. Like it was just like floating, like the air was frozen.
It's crazy. I've been to Quebec City, which is even more north, in March, and it was cold. Even in March, it was kind of cold there. It was like I
like Quebec City one time for the there's like an international blues festival.
Yeah.
And I played that, and it was just an incredible festival. Like we had such a good response. It was awesome.
It's an incredible city.
I loved it. You know, and also with Mont Tremblant. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, that's right. Tremblant. Yep.
We played there as well, and it was such a great just reception, and I had such a great time up there. I was, wishing that we weren't so far, because, I would be coming up there all the time, but it's a long ways from.
It is a long way from Texas. So, yeah. That's a long ways. That's crazy. Now, I mean, I have to ask, you mentioned Butch Walker. Did you catch his set a lot?
I watch it every night. Yeah. He's
unbelievable. Like he just captures a crowd.
I was floored by his live show. I mean, I knew his music from all the way back in the Marvelous 3 days and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's when I was in like high school and
yeah.
That, so I remember all those songs and everything, but I'd never seen him live until I did this tour with him.
Yeah,
and we did 2 months, going on 3 months, basically like 4 shows a week. It was a full on legitimate tour, and I just by like the second, third show, I was just like, I was floored by this guy, because he was doing a solo set like I was doing. So we were both doing songwriter style sets on this tour. But cool. His versatility was something that I'd never seen before from anybody, like doing, songwriter style sets. And like he was, he would move from having a kick drum and then, do electric with a kick drum, then move over to piano, and then he would jump over to acoustic. And it was just like unbelievable how, just by himself, I thought this guy's just an incredible performer, and his dialogue and his whole persona and everything was very, I would say, very influential, man. Like I totally would say that Butch was a big influence on me, especially after that tour.
That's amazing. I mean, me as a Butch Walker fan goes back to his hair band days.
Yeah,
in the band South Gang.
That stuff cracks me up. Just like that.
It's hard to believe it's him.
I know, and he has the best sense of humor about it too. That's like he's just like very well adjusted and so cool. I just thought like, man, there's nobody cooler than this guy. Like, he's just, like to be like, where he's at and to have all the, credits and everything. It's just like, I'm a fan, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I watched him play every night and took notes. I was like, definitely impressed and definitely like trying to figure out what it was that he was doing and how he was doing it,
Yeah, because when he talks to the audience even, right? I saw him on his first solo tour. He was opening for Fastball, so early 2000s, after Marvelous 3. It was the first album after Marvelous 3. And he was doing an acoustic tour. He just had a guy on drums. And that was the first time I'd ever seen him. Being a fan for years, but I actually got to see him, and we drove down to Buffalo to see him there in some shady small club down there, and he blew me away. I was like, wow, man.
I know. And it's odd because I just felt like the records, I just didn't feel like the records did it justice.
You're right. I agree. And
I was just kind of like, because I'd heard the records and stuff, and I was like, this is very catchy, very like, just anthemic and high energy and everything, but it just didn't have the sort of like emotional resonance that the live show had for me.
I agree. I totally agree 100%. I mean, his last album, which was a concept album, the American Love Story, it was called.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I really loved that album.
Well, the last few, once I knew what he was about, I think I could go back to the records and grasp it a little bit more.
Yeah, Solid Gold was really good.
Great. Yeah, that's
great album. And then the second one he did with the Black Widows, which goes back probably 10 years, that's a phenomenal album.
Or is it like something Spade?
The Spade. Yeah, The Spade. That's a great one.
Great stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And versatile, like you said. I mean, you listen to one, you're like, the next one's not the same.
No, and I thought it was cool because, I also produce music for other people outside of my own, outside of myself. And I just, I kind of just seeing his, just everything the dude's about. I like I said, I took notes. I was definitely like, wow, this is somebody to strive towards, like this is somebody that because as like a guy that's out here doing things kind of like on my own, there's not a lot of people out there that I look up to or that I look at and I think like, wow, I'd love to do what those guys have done. You know, there's very few, and he was just one of those guys where I was like, wow, this guy's the legitimate real deal. And, he's been involved in so many big records and so many projects that the masses, know about, but they just don't, a lot of people just don't read the liner notes, they don't know like.
Yeah. And he's kind of like that underground rock star. You know what I mean? Like people that like myself and you that know him, know how great he is. And you're like, this guy should be selling millions of albums. You know what I mean? But that's the music business, right?
It's a weird business, man. And I think guys like, like when you hit, I'm in 15 years now, I've been doing this, and when you hit that like 10-year period and you're still going, like, it like, even with like success, like there's ups and downs, and there's, it's like you have your high moments and then you have to, come back to being like really truly about the music at some point, because the sort of the success and the highs and they don't last, like you have these highs and then it comes back to like going to work, get up in the morning, work on other people's music, write songs. Like there's all these things that I do as a like kind of like a blue collar musician, which I live a very charmed life because of music, but I have a very like blue collar work ethic when it comes to my style. And I think that, that's kind of the thing about him, is that I feel like, I was just like seeing somebody who's kind of had the highs, had the lows, but just like works through it and consistently helps people make great records and then makes great records on his own. It's just that sort of, there's no like luck involved. I mean, yes, there's some luck, but with somebody like that and with somebody like myself, I mean, we make our luck. We work that much, and we're the guys that like know how to do, know how to make records. Like we know how to put together bands. We know how to write songs. Like somebody's got to do that stuff for the pop stars. Somebody's got to be those guys that show up. It's just like the crew guys that show up and set up the stage.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, those guys are what make the show happen. But a lot of times you don't even really think about them. But without them, the show wouldn't really even happen. So it's kind of like, I like to think that I'm like really well-rounded in that I can kind of do all the different positions that, sometimes it's not about me and I'm just going to be the guitar player for somebody, or just be the guy that sets up the recording and produces the album. Like, and so, seeing somebody like Butch was definitely like inspiring because I was like, this is a really cool dude who he does the same kind of thing and has the same mentality that I kind of have,
Yeah.
And so it was like, you can do this. You can be like, a behind the scenes kind of guy and like still, kick ass and have a great life.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, I mean, it's worked out for you, which is good. So and you get to, obviously you're a full-time musician, producer and whatnot. Yeah. That's fantastic.
It is, man. It's a blessing. Like, I mean, even the moments where I get, I compare myself to other people and, look at, the numbers that I'm getting versus so-and-so, everybody does this stuff.
Yeah.
And even in those times where I'm kind of having like a crappy day or something, I always kind of come back to going like, all right, let's be real about this. Like, it's going pretty dang well. Like, my life is really great. I produce music. I've been in the studio all week for the last, and I've been like for the last month, I've just been steady. And then I'm going out playing gigs Fridays, Saturdays, Thursdays, so it's very like, it's very nice. I get to like do studio work, early during the week. And then I go out and I tour on the weekends.
Yeah.
And then if a full, big tour comes through, I'll take off and just, leave for 3 weeks or something like that. But it's a nice dynamic, being able to stay home, be with my gal and my animals and sleep in my own bed and at the same time get to be doing music stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like when I get to go out and play, I'm like, I love it. I don't want to go home because, eventually you do want to go home. But when you get, I was doing like a lot of weekends. So I'd go play on the weekend in Ontario or wherever.
Yeah. So,
and then a few times we went to the East Coast and I was driving home and I'm like, our bass player was he was our agent. So I said to him, he's like, oh, there's a possibility we might have a gig on the way home. I was like, oh, you got to make that happen because I didn't want to go home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a balance. And I think that, that's why after being through this like 2-year lockdown with COVID, it's like ready to get out there, and get back to work because it was like a forced break. And I think before that, I was pretty tired just from nonstop touring, so it's kind of like, it's like kind of the grass is greener sort of thing where you're like, once you're out on the road for a year, you want to be home.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And live that life. And then when you're home for a year,
you want
to go back out.
I want to go back out. Yeah.
I think that's why I love where I'm at right now. Cause I've got this balance of sort of being able to like do the weekend warrior thing where I'm getting, 2 or 3 gigs a week. And then coming back and doing studio sessions during the week. And it's nice, it's really nice. I'm in a good spot right now. I'm liking where I'm at.
You sound it, which is great. That's great to hear.
It is, because I have my highs and lows, dude. I mean, like, I definitely, at times am questioning what am I doing. I've had plenty of those moments. So
that's cool.
But right now things are great. I'm loving this new music. We've been pushing it out. People are responding well, and it's been nice.
It's a cool song, and we will get to that. But first, I'm sorry, we kind of got off on Butch, but I think that was good, though. It was good to, I was just curious about it. It was kind of off the cuff because you and I had talked about Butch before that, so it just kind of came to my mind, and I'm like, I was just kind of curious about it, so that's cool.
Yeah, he's great. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but like I couldn't speak more highly of that guy. Like, that's how I feel about it.
That's awesome. Now, the band is called Jonathon Tyler and the Northern Lights. And as you know, I'm up in Canada. The Northern Lights may have a different meaning to you. What was the premise of the name the Northern Lights?
So I was doing my first solo shows as like a songwriter,
right,
back in Dallas, and they called me and said, "Hey, we need to know, like, what do you want to bill yourself as?" It was like my first show, and I was like, "Well, I mean, I guess I need a band name," and I just was like, "Well, what do I name myself?" And I looked down, and I just bought a bag of weed, and it was like written on the bag. Northern Lights.
No way, like, really?
Jonathon Tyler and the Northern Lights, and that's how the name came about. But
that's cool.
But yeah, I haven't never seen the actual Northern Lights. I've never been able to see them. From whenever I've been on tour in Norway or wherever you could see it, it wasn't happening. So I've just still never seen it. So I got to figure out how to make that happen. But
I have seen them, which was unreal. But
I can't imagine, yeah.
Like it was, but you see them but apparently if you're way up north, then they really illuminate, right? And I would love to see that, but I've never been that far north at the time.
Me either. Yeah, so I wish my story wasn't just like a college stoner story, but
no, it's good, man. It makes sense. That's you had to have a band name, so there it is.
Yeah, that's how it came about. It's not one that you can really print up in the newspaper, the local newspaper. It's like,
but you can say it on here, so it's all good. Now you mentioned, so the band hails from Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Would you say there's something about Texas that brings out a certain sound? I mean, that's in a good sense, because I also feel like I've been to Memphis and I've been on Beale Street and experienced the music there, and Memphis and bands that come from Memphis kind of get that vibe as well. It's almost
it's an accent. I always talk about it like it's an accent. It's like you have a Canadian accent, and I probably have. I'm not like the most country sounding guy, but I definitely sometimes have a country sounding accent. But right. It's all kind of, it's all about where you're from. And I think that the culture in Texas, there's venues to play. There's bars that you can play. And when you're starting out playing like the local spots, a lot of the bands that do well down here are country, blues, sort of those roots seem to do well here. So it's like, I think you get that positive reinforcement. And so it's just a culture of bands that end up getting paid and get gigs that have that sound that I think they end up getting, it just develops, and you end up like, we support that sound down here quite a bit. And I think, say you go to New Orleans, you get that more of that sort of, that New Orleans sound.
Yeah.
It's the same with go down to Mexico and you can get conjunto or reggaeton. Like they've got their sounds. I mean, and it's really based off of the economy, I think, because it's like if you're playing and nobody's showing up, you're not making any money. Well, it's hard to kind of grow.
Right.
Whereas when you play and say you're a jazz artist in New York City, like if you're good, like you can really grow there doing that. So I think that's why Texas has a certain, a thing with it. I think it's definitely palpable here.
That's cool. I mean, I have a DVD from, it belonged to my dad. My dad passed a couple of years ago. And I had bought it for my dad, thanks. And it was Steve Earle at Austin City Limits. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but so I give it to my dad. And that's one of those like really cool things, right? Austin City Limits, like being on that was a really cool thing. So, but anyways, the concert starts out and him and I are watching it for the first time and we're like, this doesn't sound very good. So it was like 2 or 3 or 4 songs in, the band finally got it together. But in the beginning, we always laughed about it because we'd watch it again and then we'd be like, oh man, he sounds like shit. And then all of a sudden they got it together. Yeah.
Well, the live thing, I mean, that's part of the charm of live, gigs and live recordings is like, that it's real and it's,
yeah.
I mean, it can be kind of sloppy. And then,
well, I mean, we've probably all been there, right? Where you're
I guarantee you, get on my YouTube, look it up. I'm sure there's plenty of shows that sound like crap on some iPhone recording,
or you just have that night where you're like, I am not playing my best. I'm just not feeling this stuff. I'm just struggling, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's been plenty of them. Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible to not have those nights.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you've just released a new single entitled Magic Sam's Boogie.
Yeah.
Cool vibe to the song. It's got swagger. Give me a little insight into the origins of this song and kind of how it all came to be that you ended up recording it.
Yeah, so I'm like a big fan of blues and old American music, country and blues and jazz and stuff. And I was hanging out with Charlie Sexton, who's a guitar player that, is very steeped in this sound and that music. And we were just talking about stuff and he was like, hey, have you ever seen this video of Magic Sam? And he showed me this video of him playing this guy, Earl Hooker, who was another guitar player. He's like playing that guy's guitar. It's got his name on it. And I was just immediately, when I heard the riff that he was playing, I was just like entranced by it. I mean, it just had everything that I love about guitar. And it was a lot of finger picking, which is kind of like a style of thing that I enjoy and have like practiced quite a bit. And it had the drone element, which is kind of the psychedelic side of things, which I also really enjoy. And I just I fell in love with it. So I went to trying to learn how to do it because it's a really hard riff.
Yeah.
And so it took me some time. And when I finally got it, I started just kind of jamming on it with the band, like at a at sound check and stuff like that. We would just show up and I'd start playing this riff. And it was like, man, this is so fun. Like, I'm just going to play it tonight. And like, kind of just almost like interlude it between like 2 songs. And then I started just kind of like ad-libbing some like words over it. And I was like, this is great. Like people in the crowd loved it and would react really well. So it just kind of became this thing that we sort of, it developed over the course of like six months or a year. And then we're playing this Arlen Studios for this party. It was a private party and we had a cameraman and, we're already at the studio. So I was like, let's film this song. And so we filmed it and got the multi-track of it. And, everybody just kind of, has been reacting so well to it that the management team was like, we should release this as a single. And I was kind of like, you sure? I mean, it's not really a traditional song. Like, it's kind of like just like a jam.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we think everybody's going to love it. So I was like, all right, well, let's do it then. I'm game. Let's try it. And that's kind of the story of it. It's how it came together. It was like kind of a unintentional song.
That's cool. I mean, I know I was going to ask about the finger picking thing because that was really cool. I'm watching it and I'm like, man, it looks intricate. The whole thing. And then the other guitar player, he uses a pick on it as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to train yourself. This guy, Ray Wiley Hubbard, he's another Texas artist. He introduced me to finger picking back in the day. Like, he's like, you need to learn how to do this. And I was like, okay. And it really is kind of tricky because you're basically kind of training your thumb to operate separate from your fingers so that you can do bass with your thumb.
Right.
And you can do lead lines with your fingers at the same time. So it's kind of like a piano.
Right.
Where you're doing, a lot of things at once. So the trick is really that you get to where your thumb is completely, you forget that you're even doing it. And then the fingers, you can start doing the lead lines while your thumb is doing this bass line. So it takes some time, but like once you kind of break the like thing in your brain that doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's one of the coolest things because you can do a lot by yourself once you break that barrier. And I think that it's fun because you can play like acoustically and make your guitar sound like there's a lot going on, like bass and lead at the same time. But it's definitely not like it takes, it took me like I would say a month of like just
working on it.
Yeah, 2 hours a day, like just finally breaking the thing in my brain that, didn't want that. It's like doing the whole like, this.
I was just joking about that the other day. Yeah, exactly.
It's really kind of hard. It's weirdly kind of difficult to do that, but it's kind of like that, or like making one eye look this way and one eye look the other.
Yeah. Yeah, the what is it? Patting the head and rubbing the stomach, which you were doing, because we're on audio, so people we're only audio, so people won't know that, right?
Yeah,
but that's what Jonathon was doing. But no, and that's totally cool. Now I'm curious about that guitar you're playing in that video. Is it a vintage Gibson Is it a Gibson SG? I mean, vintage SG.
Yeah, it's a 1965 SG Junior.
Wow.
So it's got one P90, and they call those the dog ear P90 because they have because the style of what it looks like. But it's a very light guitar, and it's basically it's a one-trick pony. It is a rock machine, and that's about all you can do with it. Like it's not a clean guitar. Like you can plug that thing straight into an amp and it'll sound like you're playing through a stack. Like no distortion pedal needed.
Really?
It just it's a rock machine. That's what I say. Like anytime I'm playing a rock song, I'm like, this is the guitar for that. It's fuzzy.
That's crazy. I mean,
it's a cool axe. And I think I got it, back before they got really popular, because I think they've gone up, like they doubled in price, like since I bought it.
Yeah.
I try to, really be careful about traveling with it. I don't really travel with it.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't either. I would probably put it in a big safe. You'd have to put it in a big safe, but now
it's in the house. It stays pretty locked up. So
no doubt. Now, I must also ask about all the amps set up on the stage in the video. Yeah. Is that more for effect look, or
that's just the studio there. They have a bunch of amps, and so where we were put, like kind of set up, that's just the setup.
That's just the setup. Yeah.
And there's always a lot of amps. I do run stereo amps. I run stereo Gibson Explorer amps. They're also 1960 era, 1960, 1959. They're called the Explorer. They're 18 watts. And I do run them stereo. And so I do run a couple amps most of the time. Like it's cool for if you run different like panning effects and things like that, where you can spread the sound really wide.
That's cool. I've never even heard of those.
Yeah, well, they weren't really popular because the Fender Deluxe 5E3, like they became, they're both very similar amps. Like the Fender Deluxe and the Gibson Explorer are kind of the same schematics, but the Deluxe became super popular.
And the Gibson didn't.
Yeah, and the Gibson didn't. And so they're just harder to find, the Gibsons are, but they're usually cheaper. They're usually about half the price. Like you can get one of those Deluxe amps, or I'm sorry, the Gibson Explorers.
Yeah.
You can get them from anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000.
That's reasonable.
Like, yeah, I mean, if you were getting the Fender version, it'd be $4,000 to $5,000.
Right.
So, it's kind of a secret. It's kind of a secret, you know. Like honestly,
I think that's cool. I'm gonna look them up now.
Yeah, look them up. I mean, they went by the GA series, so it'd be like Gibson GA, and then they would be like GA 18, and they had the Falcon. They've got basically GA 18 all the way up to GA 40. There's like 4 or 5 different amps with that makeup, but they're all kind of secretly amazing and not as pricey as the Fender versions.
You would think because they do sound so amazing that people would want to buy them, right?
I think the people that know, they buy them, and they like, you know, there's people that know, and there's people that really like will buy them, and anytime they see them. Like yeah. I've got 2 of them, and I kind of had to stop myself because I was like, I really don't need to buy. Like I also have the Fender Deluxe version, the Tweed 1955.
Yeah.
And it's just getting to that point where you're like, all right, I've got like six amps. Like I don't need any more amps. Like I've got to kind of stop. You know, I need to buy microphones and preamps now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm blowing my money on these days.
Perfect. Do you know how did they make them for very long? Do you know?
They were from the 50s, like 55 through like, I want to say like 60, like 61.
Okay.
So it's like a 6-year period. And they changed, like the early ones aren't Tweed. They went Tweed like, I think in 1959, and they were Tweed for the last few years. But the ones before that are kind of like, they're kind of ugly. They're just like black, and they don't have the cool tweed vibe, but they sound amazing. Yeah. You know, so
that's cool.
Yeah, I would look that up. I mean, if you're a guitar player and you're looking for
I'm totally interested because Gibson is not known for amps. I mean, Fender people know Fender amps, but Gibson isn't really known for amps, right?
It's weird because like I think the Gibson version came out first.
Really?
I think that it came out first, and then Fender like made it and ended up kind of becoming more popular and winning. But it's debated who came up with the GA18 or the 5E3, because that's the 5E3 is the quintessential guitar amp. You know, it's the Fender Deluxe is essentially like in every studio, and it's the amp they'll always have one at the back line, like when you show up for a gig, even still. And they're basically the same schematic as they were back then. It's like they never come up with anything better than that version of an amp. I mean, and obviously there's bigger amps and there's different tube settings and things like that. But that particular amp, I think, is like they're basically still making the amps like that. You know, they've added a couple little things here and there, but it's like it's essentially the same.
Yeah, that's cool. Now you've opened up for some really cool acts: Skinner, Kid Rock, ZZ Top, just to name a few. AC/DC is on the list.
Yeah, that was a one-off. But it's you know, it's something I'll never forget.
What was it? I mean, that audience, because AC/DC's audience is so big, I guess, and they're so loyal, right?
It's huge. I think it was 15,000 people, and it was in El Paso, and I mean, we were just excited about wrapping up our set so we could watch from the front row.
Yeah.
You know, and they let us play through the Angus stacks. They showed us the rig that he was using. I mean, we were like totally fangirl. We fangirled out. I mean, it was an amazing night. I'm a huge AC/DC fan. Like that's like the only tape that I have in my old car. Like it's just like that's it. I've got Highway to Hell in there, and it's like I'm good.
So are you more a Bon Scott guy or Brian Johnson?
I am definitely more of a Bon Scott guy. I think that Brian Johnson's phenomenal, and he's done a phenomenal job, and he's a great performer and great singer. But I mean, Bon Scott drank himself to death.
I know.
The guy was just a maniac. I mean,
he was a character. Like he was.
He seems to be like exactly what that band is. Like he personified that band's spirit. And yeah, it's unfortunate that stars that burn that bright, they usually don't last too long.
Yeah.
Your body just can't handle it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was luckily they were able to forge on, and Back in Black came out, and the rest is history.
And dude, that's an amazing record. And
absolutely.
Brian Johnson, yeah, he's amazing. Like, so I don't want to sound, but I'm also a David Lee Roth. I'm gonna go him all day over Sammy Hagar when it comes to Van Halen. Like I like the early stuff, and I feel like it comes from a primal spot, that you can't really, I don't know. Once you're huge and famous and you switch out lead singers, it's like you can't really.
It's funny that you say that because, like, for years I'm a big Sammy fan. I love Sammy.
Oh, he's fun. He's great.
But recently, I've gone back and started listening to the first 6 albums again, and I'm like, there's just something magical about what they did as a 4-piece band, like just them as a band, and it was different. No one else did it.
That first record is like unbelievable, dude. Yeah. I mean, like if I turn that on at like 10:30 a.m., I'm gonna crack a beer like at 11. Like,
I love it.
That album just makes me want to party, and I mean, it just gets me excited. It makes me like, it amps me up, and and then just to think that they walked into the studio and just played that is like,
that's insane.
It's mind blowing. Like, I mean, it's insane. Like nobody can do that, and it's just so fun. Like the spirit of it too, so it's just that the having fun and not taking yourself too seriously. I mean, it's like, you can't get any better than Van Halen.
I agree. It just going back and listening to it, there's just certain things that they did that you're like, it's not just Eddie either. I mean, it was just the whole band, just things that they did that had never really been done. And you're like, it's like, how the hell did they ever even come up with that? You know what I mean? Like I know Eddie came up with a lot of the riffs, and a lot of the stuff was, him. Yeah. But, and what amazes me too, is he had enough material for 3 albums before they even had a record deal.
Well, I mean, the guys that sit around and just, that's all they do. That's all they do. They wake up and they work. I mean, there's a reason why they get that good, and then, their social skills are usually,
not very
horrible.
Good. Yeah.
Because it's like they've spent all their time becoming a master, I mean, it's really the only way. So it's kind of like, I feel bad for guys like that, because you become like a savant where you
totally, yeah, that's a good way to term it. And a lot of people never realize that either, that guitar players like that dedicate everything to coming up with that music and playing that guitar and getting that good, right?
Only way you could.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. Now, I also see that you opened for Blackberry Smoke.
Oh, yeah.
They were to be here last week, but an hour before the show, I was about to leave, and it was postponed. Charlie lost his voice, so they canceled the rest of the Canadian tour.
Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, it was, and it had been postponed since the beginning of COVID. We had the tickets before COVID, and then it was just like, it was April of 2020. And it
that's too bad, man. Those guys are great. They're carrying the torch, and they're doing a great job. They sound phenomenal live, and they write great songs, and I think they're one of the best rock and roll bands that does like Southern rock out there.
Yeah. And I assume their audience, like AC/DC, it's got a great vibe as well. Yeah.
I mean, when we toured together, I mean, I think that it was just like, birds of a feather, we go hand in hand. We love the same kind of music, and, we come from the same roots in that way.
Yeah.
So,
this might be a stupid question. Where are they originally from? Are they Southern?
Oh man, I honestly don't know. I don't
know that either.
I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't know specifically. I thought they were from Georgia, but
maybe they are. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's where Butch is from too. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a good Southeast. It's a great place.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of great artists have come. I mean, Black Crowes came from Georgia too.
Yeah, well, those guys, I think, moved around a little bit when they were kids.
Did they?
I think so. I know they ended up in Athens.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's another band I've played with that I mean, they're amazing. They're doing great things again. Glad they're playing together again.
Yeah. No, and that's fantastic. But before I let you go, I just want to say thank you for coming on tonight. It was a pleasure to talk with you, and
dude, anytime, man. And anytime I'm up in Toronto, I'd love to hang out. We could go see the crazy guy from the Silver Dollar.
The Silver Dollar. That's
crazy promoter.
That's a crazy story. If anyone's listening from Toronto and knows about this guy, hit me up and tell me about this guy, because I'm curious about it.
Trust me, man. Look him up on YouTube. There's like videos of him fighting the bands, and it's rock and roll, punk rock. It's out of control, but kind of funny. That's
insane. So moving forward, what's up for this year?
Man, it's feeling like things are slowly kind of coming back for me. And I'm just adding shows left and right every day. I've been adding shows lately, and I'll probably, most likely I'm going to be recording another record. I'm going to be releasing another, basically EP, another 5 songs to kind of complete the album that I've already released half of it. I'll be releasing that, and I'll be doing shows. I'll be, running around right now, mostly staying in the Texas area because this is my bread and butter down here.
Yeah.
But I just got off of a U.S. tour, and I'm sure another one is going to come up in the next few months. So best bet is to just get on the Google or the DuckDuckGo and send me, look me up and follow along if you're into the music.
So, which actually maybe we should promote that and say, where can you be found?
Well, I mean, these days, if you can't find somebody, there's something wrong with you. I mean, you can Google me and you can find out everything. Well, not everything, but you can find out a lot. And but yeah, my name, Jonathon Tyler, and streaming stuff and all. I've got all the stuff. So okay. I'm out there.
Perfect. Right on, man. Well, it was such a pleasure.
Dude, thanks for making time, and let me know if you ever make it down to Austin, and I'll do the same with Toronto.
Okay, man. Sounds good. Have a great night.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, take it easy.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
See you, man.
Two-step pajamas in the Roadhouse Queens.